world of sports and coming up on our second preseason games. And of course this weekend, I would assume you'll have it on here. The Giants and the Jets preseason game number 2, Saturday night at MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, and I guess we don't have the Olympics to compete with this week.
And there are some disgruntled people over this because unless you have the NFL Network, DirecTV, Fios, or one of those, you're out of luck. You need to be here or any of your locations where you're going to have the game on.
Or at my place where I have Fios.
Where you got Fios. There you go. I know. Somebody did tell me that if you wanted to stay up to 11 o'clock at night, SNY will replay the game on a tape delay.
Because they do that for all the Jet games.
Right, so that you could do that, or I'm going to be out of town, not out of town, I'm at a wedding on Saturday night, so I won't be able to see it live, but I really want to see the game, so I'll probably tape that at 11 o'clock and watch it on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably be out at one of the restaurants, but
you'll see.
That is kind of annoying, but it works well for the restaurants.
Yeah, and as I said this morning on the radio show on a Right to Mile in the Times Union, if you think the Giants can say all they want that this is just a second preseason game and they don't care, but I can tell you that they do care because it's the Jets, and they're so sick and tired of being disrespected in New York with the Jets getting the back pages of all the tabloids all the time with Tim Tebow and Mark Sanchez. They are so sick and tired of it, John. I think they want to go out there and just kick you-know-what and deal with Tim Tebow and all of that and win this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think no matter what, it comes down to it, Jets-Giants, it's going to be a big game. The Jets are obviously sour over the Giants ending their postseason hopes last year with that nice Victor Cruz touchdown catch there. But yeah, it's a rivalry game. Those guys butt heads hardcore even when they used to scrimmage against each other, not even a preseason game. So, I expect to see the first team. They're probably, second game of the year, they'll probably be out for almost the whole first half. Get their work in.
I interviewed Tom Coughlin before they left. I got a one-on-one interview with Coughlin. And before the interview, he likes to kind of know what direction we're heading here. And I said, we're going to do the local stuff. Are you coming back and all of that? And I said, then I'll ask you about the Jets. He said, just do me a favor. Don't ask me about Tim Tebow. We don't game plan. I'm not dealing with the Tebow story. When I ask you about the Jets, I'll give you a comment, but I'm not getting into Tim Tebow and all the hype going on around him. I just prefer you not asking me that question.
I mean, it seems like everybody in football is being asked that question. No matter who you are or who you play for, everybody wants to know about Tim Tebow.
But I am looking forward to.
Now, did you ask him about the beds at New Albany?
I didn't. Which, by the way, they're all complaining about the beds at New Albany. Do you realize that they bring their own beds? And somewhere it got lost in the story that for 16 years that they've been training here, the Giants bring their own beds to training camp, for crying out loud. It's not the University of Albany's fault. If it is the beds that are causing all these back problems, and by the way, it was a training camp where there was nothing going on. So the best we could do was write about the dormitory beds. But those are supplied by the university, but they don't elect to use the universities. They bring their own. So they have nobody to blame but themselves.
Yeah. Somehow that made ESPN.com.
Oh, it made everywhere. I mean, I text Ralph Bacchiano of the New York Daily News. I mean, that day that they wrote about the beds, it was also announced that Hakeem Nicks was cleared to go and was going to practice on Monday. Their best receiver coming back. That was like a little blurb at the end, but the big story was the beds at the University of Albany. So go figure.
Said, whatever their odds are bringing the Giants back, a story like that, geez, it's not even their fault. Go figure.
I think the odds are not in the favor of the Giants fans anymore. I just think that it's run its course. It was a great 16-year run, and for a whole bunch of reasons, I don't think they're going to come back. Although Paul Schwartz interviewed George Phillip on Wednesday of last week. And George Phillip told Paul Schwartz, George Phillip is the current president, but he's an outgoing president. He's on his way out. He's retiring. They're bringing in somebody new. So how much of a say he has in anything right now, I don't know. But if you've ever been over to training camp over at New Albany and you've gone to the practice fields, you've passed by a bubble. And George Phillip said that the university should look into expanding the bubble, making it a 100-yard field, putting in turf, and therefore, when the Giants run into thunderstorm problems and they're forced to go indoors, they can go in the bubble as opposed to going into the gym at Stepke Arena, and that would then solve the problem.
Yeah, and that would more or less give them the same facility that they'd be using down at Giant Stadium.
Right. But the question becomes, A, George Phillip was at a kind of just a casual setting when he said this to Paul Schwartz. He's leaving. How much is it going to cost? They don't have any money to do that. They're spending, all the millions of dollars on a brand new stadium that's being constructed right now. Do they really have another $1 million to expand the football bubble so the Giants can practice there if it rains? So I think that's very much a long shot, to be honest with you. What do we have to give away tonight, John?
Well, Roger, funny you should ask. We have